Now we're going to discuss the bill parameters. This option allows you to determine, to some degree, the output of your bills of quantities. I should start by saying that all new jobs have their bill parameter set to the first record on file, which is the most common output that people like. It's called Arial 10, which is the font name, and it says 4 columns. 4 columns means that on the right-hand side of the page there will be a column, a separate column for unit of measure, a separate column for quantity, a separate column for rate, and a last column for the amount of the bill item. Now, if it says 3 columns, then what that means is that the unit of measure will actually print just underneath the text block, and you will have 3 columns, one for quantity, one for rate, and one for amount, or 2 columns, in which case the unit of measure and the quantity print under the text block, and the 2 columns are to contain the rate and the amount only. As I say, most people seem to be happiest with the 4-column bill, because of course if you print the unit of measure and the quantity below the text block, you will of course be using an additional line, which isn't really necessary. I see that for some reason on my system the font has actually been changed to Futura MDBT, and I'm going to change it to Arial by just clicking this button and browsing through the list of items to Arial, and I'm going to say regular and font size 10, which seems to be quite a legible format. You'll see a sample under my cursor of what the text actually looks like. Right, so there are various items that can be set up. You can say your general headings, you want the font size to be 10, you want it bold-faced and underlined. On the fly sheet, how do you want the text to appear? What is the text that must print on the fly sheet? And then in the general bills of quantities, how do you want your text to be worded for the section number, the bill number, the index heading, the page number, caption, etc., etc. You can have a look at these items, bearing in mind that if you are working in a large office and the central or core data, as we call it, is located on a server somewhere in that office, these items would be changed for the entire system and not just for yourself. That is the purpose of the user profile, which we discussed just a minute ago. So this is how you can set up your bill headings, subheadings, item headings, which don't appear in the South African system. Column headers, what do you want to print as your column headers? Do you want a separate column for quantities, for units of measure? Do you want to underline the unit of measure and quantity if they're not in a separate column, etc., etc.? There's quite a lot of this, and it is actually set up when you get your system. I suggest that you leave it like it is and see how you go with your first bill.